I think I'm live. Peace, YouTube. I know it's going to take a minute for everyone to check in. This is last minute. Peace to the east, west, north, and south of this FleurBrun coming to today with a comeback. So check on in. Okay. Whew. It's going to be hot in here. Bon dia. Actually, bon tarde. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Konnichiwa. So, peace to the east and the west and the north and the south. This is a public service announcement. As many of you know, I was kicked off YouTube. They put me on timeout, as usual, as per what they normally do. So, I'm coming back. And also, in the description, y'all, because they did kick me off because I shared the video of the amazing Italian woman who did such amazing work in Mexico. You can check out that video along with my commentary in Rumble, and it is uncensored. There aren't any code words, so if you have had always issues with understanding the lingo that I've had to use because of the censored platform that YouTube has become, you can please subscribe and go to my Rumble. It is in the description. You're going to get a lot of verbiage. So if you're ready for that kind of disclosure, by all means, join me over there. They blocked me from sharing that with you, so you can do so. But we're going to get in a conversation because, you know, let me give a beautiful dedication to YouTube. I want to thank YouTube for being so graciously and so perfectly prejudiced in for over the years of my dedication to your platform, bringing such amazing content that is legitimate and coming from a space of just being being conscious and wanting to share my amazing experiences and wisdom over the years. I want to thank YouTube for constantly reminding me of how non-worthy that they perceive me, how wonderfully marginalized that they will conduct themselves in order to suppress someone's truth or sharing things that are against the Willy Wonka agenda system, and really upholding forms of favoritism and promoting those channels that are so-called whistleblowers, conscious community, that are promoting men who molest and rape children allegedly in the conscious community, making sure you uplift those platforms while also uplifting platforms that are constantly just subjecting us amazing women and C-stars and making us feel like our value and our genre is really is undeserving of being protected and uplifted. Thank you so much, YouTube, for being so egregiously abusive to my channel. You make me want to do better. You actually uplift me and gaslight me so that I haven't relied on you anymore for sharing the content that I feel that you aren't worthy of me giving to you anymore. So I just want to give that to YouTube. Thank you very much. I so appreciate you making me into the stronger C-star that I am so that I can fight the good fight and definitely go over and start an amazing new journey on Rumble. I appreciate it. Thank you. So check on in, y'all. Put a handy dandy like in a video. Okay, we're gonna get into a piloted discussion today. So, and also for those who, again, want to join me on Rumble, by all means, go and subscribe on Rumble. It is an uncensored platform for now. I'm allowed to share my, and I had to do a beta test. So you'll see when you go over to Rumble that I'm basically hitting all the bells and whistles to make sure that the platform is appropriately and applicable to the type of shares and intel that I want to really give to those who have supported me and have been following me over the years. Thank you. So y'all, let's get into conversation. They blocked me on YouTube, but I am back. I just tested it today to see if the live would go on. So let's get it in. We're going to talk about the negative bloodline, the null bloodline that has been ruling over this holographic plane for way too long. These are the bastards that are ruling, that are taking public stance, that are governmentally ruling over you, and they aren't even of the same species of you. How are they able, how is the less than 1% able to uphold positions of power over the population that was more organically from this plane of existence? We're going to talk about the Skeksis and their rulership over this holographic plane that you call Earth. And we're going to, oh, the link for Rumble is in my description. So go to my description and you'll see the link for Rumble. Okay. So the dark crystal, for those of you who don't know, as you come in, please put a like on the video. We want this video to go out into the stratosphere so that others that are part of this community can go over and get the link for Rumble. So this is the first time I'm going to say, then share, share, share. Okay. So I hope all is well. I want to be mindful. Let's wait until a few more people check in, because once I start, I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I'm able to you know, make sure everyone is up to speed. So let's wait until we get about maybe 600 people in. We're at 4 something. And also, if we can, I guess, I think the likes, can you, if you want, and graciously, putting the likes in the video allows it to go out in the stratosphere, because obviously they may intend to block it. So just as an appreciation, even if you like the content or you agree with it, it's just a matter if you like me sharing the content with you. I'd appreciate that. The censorship is off the chain. So we won't be discussing, again, some of the conversation that you heard me speak about previously. You can go to Rumble and hear me go on a full-on rant. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Put the link for y'all in there. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate it. You can hear me go on a full-on rant without any censorship. I pretty much go balls to the wall. So if you want that kind of content, then go see the video over there. I did it to make sure that everything that I like to discuss is there. Okay, so I'll wait until we get to about 600 before I start the conversation, and we'll see. I hope everybody's well. Jim Henson died over the dark crystal, Gerald. I could believe it. Yeah, I could definitely believe it. The dark crystal was amazing. I think over the years, anybody who's been a party to my platform, you know that I always reference the dark crystal. So you'll hear me a lot of times make references to that, because I feel it's relative to what is occurring here on this holographic planet. Okay, sorry. Some people always ask me what I'm putting on. I'm not doing anything major. I'm just putting some apricot oil on my lips. Okay. Yeah, apricot. I love the texture of apricot, you know, on the lips. It's really nice. Oh, I need to cover up my cleavage, Jesse. Does it offend you that I have breasts? It's interesting, because if I was a flat-chested woman, you wouldn't ever say that. Or if my breasts were artificial and I had fake boobies, you would probably support it. But because I'm an organic woman, tattoo-free, drug-free, alcohol-free, BS-free, and I have organic breasts, it offends you. Why? This is how you know we're living in a holographic AI simulated system where artificial women and men who want to be women are really held up to a high standard. If I was a transsexual and I basically had artificial breasts, you would promote that and you would feel that that was appropriate. But because I'm a mother, I have breasts that are natural, that's offensive. I'm not going to do what I did to Annie last time. I'm going to behave myself. Okay? It's amazing. And if, in fact, as a man, you lack the self-restraint and the self-mastery to be able to have a conversation with a woman organically, then that, sir, is upon you. That hasn't anything to do with me, okay? So maybe I'm not the channel for you. You should go and deal with women that have flatter boobies or artificial ones, or men who want to be women, and that might be more of your speed. But if you are talking to an organic being that is drug-free, alcohol-free, BS-free, you know, Kukarachi shot-free, and also agenda-free, then, you know, there are platforms that service your AI mindset. Okay? There's nothing wrong with little bitties, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's amazing to me. My gosh. Where are we going where artificial women are upheld to a high standard and an organic woman gets highly marginalized, vilified for looking and being organic? Like, that is crazy. You'll talk about eating organic fruits, but certainly you will disregard and disrespect an organic being. This is the world we're living in, y'all. Okay? That's why young ladies feel the need to put so much makeup on and really put themselves and make them look a certain way because of that kind of, but listen, I just speak on it because I have time and wait until we get to the 600. But this is why it is so important for each one of you, moms, dads, abuelas, uncles, big sisters, to really uphold our young women and really just build their self-esteem and really, you know, hold them and really uplift them, because it's those type of beings on here that literally will make them feel a certain way. And if the women are not healthy enough or they don't feel enough self-esteem, that could literally bother them. Okay? That's why a lot of our young women are putting artificial parts in their bodies because of gentlemen like that. And I say gentlemen really, really quite loosely. Okay? We need to uphold our young ladies at a high standard. And sun stars, you as well. Okay? It's very important for you to uphold, you know, especially if you're a father, please hold your young ladies and tell them how amazing they are so that they aren't looking for validation from self-hating men who probably are engaged in all kinds of weird sexual deviancy and are basically making women who are organic feel a certain way. Please uphold them, fathers, daddies, please do that. Okay? So let's get into conversation. Are you ready to rumble? So y'all, I'm on Rumble for all good intention. Definitely, please join me over on the platform. Thank you, Teresa is putting the link in there for y'all. Definitely make sure you go over there for an uncensored, unfiltered FleurBrun. You know, I really want ham. And, you know, again, if you're highly offended and you feel like, you know, that isn't something that you want to hear, by all means, stay on YouTube to the most censored platform in this plane. Okay? By all means. Okay? All right, y'all. So let's get into the conversation. I think we're at we're not at 600 yet. I'll wait until we get to 600. Do 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 do. Listen. Do 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 do. Listen. One thing some of you sun stars and sea stars will know is that I'm a triple Sag. I'm from Mount Vernon, New York. I am a Creole and I am unapologetic, and I will give you fire in the yard, okay? There isn't any man holding a puppeteer, you know, strings over me. You know, I am just straight, full, full blast. Anyway, wait until we get to 600 and we'll talk about the bloodline of the Skeksis, okay? I appreciate it. I'm not fishing for compliments. I love myself. I love the way I look. Gratefully, I love how I've become a woman and I've become more seasoned. So I needn't any accolades from anyone else, because I do give that to myself daily. But I will speak on behalf of young ladies, because I feel like, because I'm a little more seasoned, I've kind of got a thicker skin over the years, but I have to speak to these type of entities that come on here and vilify and do things like that, because they have to be called out and it needs to be illuminated and it needs to be shut down, so that they don't feel comfortable going into women's spaces, making them feel a certain way about their body or body shaming them for being, especially if they're organic. Okay? And now I understand why our young ladies are feeling a certain way about looking and coming online and feeling very subjugated. You should be very happy, young ladies. I support our young sea stars. I love you. I want you to feel amazing. You are absolutely beautiful the way you are. If someone hadn't ever shared that with you, let me be the first to say that you are perfect as you are. There shouldn't be anyone or anything outside of yourself that should make you feel any which way. Okay? So that being said, let's start the conversation. Okay, so we're gonna get into the bloodlines, y'all. Some of you like when I get into the conversation about blood types and genetics and heredity. I was really inspired by a young lady. I appreciated her qualifications and her speaking to genetics and what goes on with, and this young lady, her name is Nefertiti Ra. I forgot the last part. I was listening to her on IG. Many of you share her platform. I really appreciate her shares. She is a qualified biogeneticist, I think she's a biochemist, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, but she does work in a field that I am very familiar with, and I have such respect for her, such honor. She is a negative ruse, so I want to give a big up to her. She spoke about negative ruse, and I think she was speaking to a gentleman who, again, was another male that is marginalizing to women, has some sort of issue with women, and felt like trying to dampen her light and trying to impose his ignorance and his lack of qualifications, but she shut him down. Shut him down. So big up to the O negatives. This isn't any shade to y'all, because I know we have amazing negative ruse family, and this isn't a shade to you, but this is definitely an upliftment video to those who share positive ruse. Okay, so we're gonna get into conversation about bloodlines, the Skeksis, how they came into our plane of existence here as parasites and cancers to this realm, and have basically placing themselves in every position of power politically to basically subjugate the natural organic beings that are positive roots in this plane. So that being said, we're going to get in that conversation. Okay, big up to all the O positives in the house. Let me give it a little dance to you. O positives, go positive, go positive, go A positive, go A positive, go B positive, B positive, go AB positive. I love you, ABs. I gotta give a shout out to ABs because, like I said, I love ABs. You guys are the neutralizers, just the harmonic blood type that really brings harmony. Even AB negative and AB positive, you guys are just very neutral, and you bring such peace and a plane of neutrality to everyone. I love having an AB in my mix. You aren't as popular because it's not as many of you, but I do want to get an acknowledgement and a shout out to the ABs. Big up to the ABs, negative and positive. Okay, so where are my O positives in the house, y'all? Big up to O positives. Go, go, go. No one ever talks about us. Though we dominate here on this planet, though we are the organic and the strongest of the lineage of the ones who come from this plane and have more of the genealogy that holds an organic position in this holographic simulation, okay? As you know, there aren't any O positive representatives that I know of. Now, if any of you know of any congressional or political figures that hold O positive, please place it in the comment section. As far as I know, there hasn't ever been in our acknowledgement, or at least in our lifetime, any O positive representative in the political system. It has always been negative ruse, and it has always mostly been O negative, okay? And also O negative, mostly lunar, okay? Though in Africa, the diaspora in Africa, I do think that there are, if I'm not mistaken, big up to all my African diaspora family. If you can give me some information, I don't want to say that I know. So I wouldn't want to say it with such validity, because it isn't something that I've really vetted out well. So because in Africa it's totally different, you'll see more A's in Africa. And remember, A's, you are the oldest. That's why the animals, the plant life really recognize you as an A, whether it's negative or positive, but mostly positive. Nature really presents itself to you in harmony. They remember your ancestors, a lot of the birds, the fish, the bees, the ants, the squirrels, the raccoons, the bears, even the sea life. They remember you, and they have a cellular memory that is connected to you. So big up to all my A's, because you are the harmony and the wonderful meridian, or the the segue between us and nature. So I want to give a shout out to you, A positives, because you are really connected to the realm of nature and nature supports you. So I really say at this time, it's really important for A's negative and positive. It's really important for you to really go and connect with the plant life, especially the plant life that is really being attacked right now with all of the fires and some natural, some may be artificial, but definitely I feel like it is really your position to really be a healthy liaison between us and the plants. So please, A's, get out of nature, take off your shoes, go relax under a tree, talk to the mother grass, you know, the blades of grass. Please interconnect us and to connect us back and let our plant life know that we haven't really participated in the Skeksis agenda-based incineration of our nature. Tell them that it wasn't us. Tell them that it's this alien life that has come here that is placating itself as humanoids, and it is really here as a parasite and a cancer to really subject us and marginalize us and keep us in a subjugated form of slavery. So please, A's, I ask of you to really go into nature and really plead for us. At this point, we can do it, but I feel like they know your ancestors and they have such a connection to you that you would be the best representative to really connect to them. So I want to give a big up to all the A's in the house, okay? So let's go into the Skeksis and talk about the Skeksis and the blood lineage of the overlords that have been ruling over this plane of existence. These beings came here into our holographic plane. They are some sort of parasite, like an AI parasite, and they have pretty much inserted themselves in our simulation and have created a space where they can dominate in every political arena. If you go into every country on the top tier, you will only see negative ruse ruling, and mostly O negative. O negative is in rulership in every single plane of political arena, at least in the United States, okay? And they have dominated here. It is a very small group, less than 1%, that is able to purposefully position itself. Now, if you don't get an idea of why I call them the Skeksis, definitely I would like you to go and watch the Dark Crystal. And really in itself, I would really go and watch, sorry, I'm very natural. I would really, it would behoove you, or behoove, well, Body Snatchers is another one, definitely. But I would definitely think that it would be very informationally appropriate to watch the Dark Crystal, the series. They haven't made a new one, but definitely I would want you to go watch it, because you'll see how they infiltrated and came in as friends. It's kind of like how the colonizers came into the United States, acting as if they were coming to the indigenous here, indigeno or nativo. They were coming into the indigenous and acting as if they were friends coming to break bread, but really in itself it was to scout out and see the vulnerabilities of that group so that they can inevitably send a message over to the others in Europe to come over so that they can assassinate and to basically genocide all of the indigenous, and any of the ones that were left or more passive, they were going to control and even head a lot of those native groups. That's why in many of the native or indigeno, tribes today, they are being headed by $5 Indians. They are being headed by people that have any genetic connection to the original indigenous there, and they purposefully, just like I say that the Willy Wonka systems at the top tier are being ran by the Skeksis, and many of the indigenous groups, they are being ran also. They are being subjugated and dominated by that same tier group. It's like infiltrate to eliminate. So it's the same thing that happened with the colonizers that came into the fakes. It's the same way that they have literally done the same in this particular holographic plane. Now, many of you like to play video games or you have computer systems, and I like it to share is like, it would be the same as you having a computer, and if you haven't the proper malware, sometimes these viruses will go into your computers. They'll use, your browser as a way to segue into your computer to your hardware. And then when they figure out how to overtake your computer system, they will eventually take it over. And then they can even cloak themselves to make it look like it's you, so that they can further spread their virus into other computer systems that are interconnected to you. It's a very amazing way that they've been able to come and hack this system and to dominate for as long as it is. We are on reset, so this information is very appropriate to the times that we're coexisting with and it's very important for us to understand that when you're engaging with these type of parasites, the ultimate goal of these parasites is to infiltrate, to eliminate, and their goal is to take over, either assimilate you or basically assassinate, or to get rid of you, or to, you know, X-may you out. Okay, that's it. If you aren't assimilating into their system, or they can't use you and you know, and basically slave you into building or maintaining their nefarious agenda-based field, then they basically will eventually, like you see with the cucarachas, basically use some sort of bio to take you out. Okay, so we're going to talk about the bloodline of the nefarious ones, them upholding, and I want to speak to our O positives, because basically I'm speaking to tier. O positives, I'm shouting out to you. It's time that you take your power back. You are the strongest, and you are the hub of all of the positive ruses, and it is time for you to stand. You were the most regenerative. You look the youngest. You can regenerate even in battles. When something comes against you, you're able to regenerate quicker. You have the ability to shapeshift your cells to be able to overcome any of the bio challenges that they try to throw at you. And during this since 2020, you have been the main target of the cucarachi, okay? When they were telling you that it was A's and ABs that were more susceptible to the cucarachis, that was bait and switch, that was cap. What they were trying to do is throw you off, because the real target and the most people that were affected by the cucarachis were O positives. If you look at the amount of people that transcended from 2020, you will see an unlawful, unnatural, really just diabolical high number of O positives that literally were affected by what was definitely designated as a tag to them. Okay, so I'm putting the red flag up, O positives. It's time for you to stand in your power. The reason why they go at O positives, because as we are the warriors of this plane of existence, our ancestors were the warriors, the Olmecs, the Incans, the Mayans, the strong warriors of the Americas. We ruled here. And when I speak to the people of the Americas, let me give a shout out to all the O positives from North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. We are the people of the indigenous of the Americas. Our ancestors ruled and dominated these regions. We know this terrain inside and out. They have been subjugating us, trying to marginalize us, and really just taking us over and trying to get rid of as many of us as possible. But it's very difficult because we are very powerful. We are the leaders of our tribes, and we have the ability to shapeshift and to dominate this field. They are parasites. They haven't the ability, and because this isn't their plane of existence, they come from another home world. They haven't the home court advantage. We do. That's why they've been terraforming this mofo, trying to make it more appeasing to them in their depleted and non-natural existence in this plane. This is our realm. Just like when the Americans went into Vietnam and thought they would dominate these people, they found that the Vietnamese were very masterful, and they had all of the home court advantage to be able to overcome and really trick the tricksters and be able to beat them and chase them out of their homeland. This is our world. Okay, so I'm speaking to the O positives. It's time for us. We are the warriors of the groups, and we are built to last. That's why we're bulkier. That's why our muscle mass is stronger. That's why a lot of your strongest athletes share that blood type. We need to now stand in unison and power. I'm talking to our lunars that are O positive and our brown, just like the kitty cats that can come out striped, black, white, ginger, they are of the same blood lineage. It doesn't matter what complexion they are kin to each other. It is time for us to stand in power and to basically disallow these parasites from purposefully and constantly bombarding us and our offspring with all forms of genocide. I'm asking for you to stand in your power. The Skeksis have been here too long. They aren't even natural. The only way they're able to exist here is under a tier and cloak, and they aren't able to really battle you. They need weapons to come against you. They need other things, technology to work for them. If they went toe in toe to match, and they hadn't any technology, they couldn't stand to you. They wouldn't be able to challenge you. The only reason they're able to hold this tier of dominance is because they use all these forms of technology to work against you, who's an organic being from this plane of existence. It's time to stand up and start to evolve to the point where you understand who your true enemy is. It is the Skeksis, this bloodline of parasites and cancers that is here, that is disseminating of chemicals and biological weaponry of mass destruction. It is time. Your children will be susceptible to all of these forms of chemicalization if you aren't standing in your power and understanding who you are in your greatest being. The Olmecs weren't pacifists. The Incans and the Mayans weren't pacifists. All of the Caribs and the Taino that fought and battled. The Haitians who were able to overcome the French and basically be contracted by America, by Colombia, by Venezuela to be able to teach some of the masteries of overcoming the dominating factors of these cancers, these bloodline of the nefarious ones, of these parasitic beings that aren't able to live here naturally on their own. If they hadn't terraformed this arena, if they hadn't had weapons of mass destruction, they would literally be cowering and would be at their knees asking for us for pity and for forgiveness. Okay? So it's time. Oh, you can't find the Rumble Priscilla. Look for the link that I have in my description. So I'm calling to the O positives. We have been dominated by a sub-tier group that is less than 1% of the population, y'all. The only reason they've been able to do this is because every one of us has been complicit and compliant in their system. We have bought into the materialistic realm, and this is really what has destroyed our family dynamics, our health, our tribal systems. You bought into the fact that you've been trying everything they project as if their fears, like the only thing they fear right now is the grid going down. If the grid went down, everyone, that is their fear. Their fear is the grid going down. We're organic beings. Why would the grid going down bother us? Actually, it would make us stronger. We're under an electromagnetic field that is basically hindering our skeletal system. It's suppressing our immune system, and it's making us feel sluggish. If the freaking grid goes down, do you know how powerful you will be? Do you know how? That's why be careful if they keep promoting to you all these channels. They're all ran by agent Smiths that are basically ran by the Willy Wonka systems that are contracting these beings, these channels, to act like they're telling you anything. Any channel over 100K that is telling you their intel that is capped. They are being ran, monitored, and monetized by the Willy Wonka system that is purposefully keeping you constantly distracted and thinking that they're telling you the truth. They're going to tell you a little bit of truth, but they're going to distract you, and they're going to give you false narratives to keep you constantly bombarded by lies. It's very important for each one of you to take your position and to understand that their fears aren't our fears. They're projecting their fears so you take it out. It's just the concept of like when you watch the movies about slavery, right? And you see that the master's sick. You'll hear the slave say, "Master sick? We sick." Why does he take on the antage of the master? He basically, fuses himself with the fears and the motivations of the master. Why would you do that? Yes, if the grid goes down, this is positive. If the monetary system goes down with the fiat system that we've been using, the skins of our tree ancestors to do exchange with spells of mass destruction, why would that bother you that we stop using folding money that is using the skin of the trees and with spells that have been used by the Illuminazis that have been using it to subjugate us and put us under a spell for this entire cycle? Why would that bother you? It is important for you to understand. Now, let me say this also. People say that because I'm going to segue for a minute because I see that people are talking about the ruse monkey. That is cap. As someone who worked in genetics, and I do respect, definitely respect our C-Star, I keep forgetting her name. Nefertiti Ra. I love her name. I want to be respectful to say it correctly. I do respect her intel and I feel like it's valid. But in the research and the clinician field, one thing I know that has been purposefully done is that they've connected Rhys with a monkey. I'm going to tell you my personal opinion is that's a lie. They purposefully attach ruse, saying that people who are positive ruse are connected to the ruse monkey. That is for you to feel like you are sub-tier human. The fact of the matter is the ruse positive means that you are from a positive being that came here biologically. It doesn't mean you're connected to a primate. They attach that particular, that field around it so that you would feel sub-tier, like almost animalistic. The fact of the matter is, I disagree. I personally think that they said that positive means you're connected to the ruse monkey and the ruse is connected to the ruse monkey to make you feel like you are part of that realm. But really in itself, that positive ruse means you're from here. Negative means you aren't from here. If you are more, now mind you, you can have a positive ruse and a negative parent, and you can come out positive ruse or you can come out negative ruse. That means you have the fuse of different worlds and different dimensions fused into one being. But for the most part, positive ruse means that you are you're from here, you are mixed with the organic entities or species that actually coexisted here. It doesn't mean you're connected to the monkey. I spoke about this years ago. I personally think that that scientific term was created to make people who are positive ruse feel like they're a part of the primates, which constantly is just like the same reason that people will say brown people look like apes and monkeys. It's to keep you in a state of feeling like you are connected to something animalistic, and it's the way that they can subjugate us and put us in a sub-tier to make them feel like they're more superior. That is cap. Personally, I know it means that positive ruse means that you're positively connected to the biological field here. This particular plane of existence, you have genetic remnants, and that those who are negative have more of a connection to the outer dimension which they came from. Negative ruse is a newer ruse that came here, even though the ruse is universal as far as they can give blood to everyone. As you know, they're the universal donor. It's because they don't have the spikes around them that make them unable to give blood to everyone, meaning every person can take ruse negative blood. They don't have any spikes on them, but the spikes are information. The little pokes, the little spokes on around your DNA, the antigens, that's information. So the reason why they don't have spokes is because they aren't from here. That's collected data. That's data that's been in your memory bank. So those aren't negative. That's the data that you've collected from being here and having collected data from generations of being connected to this realm. They don't have any spokes because they aren't from this realm. So they haven't anything to, those spokes they don't have the information that's necessary to be able to overcome or to pull resources or memory from a memory bank of being able to pull information so that your DNA can can evolve to overcome or to activate. Okay, so they aren't with any activation. That's why many negative ruses, and they can talk to that, they have a lot of autoimmune issues because they aren't really from this realm. You know, the realm they come from doesn't have a lot of the things that we have here. So do be careful when they say that when you have these spikes around your DNA or the spokes that, it looks like spokes, but that's DNA, that's information that basically speaks, and it actually has receptors at the end. So it pulls in information from your natural environment. The reason why negative ruse doesn't have it is because they aren't from here. They haven't the database to be able to pull that. Okay, so that's a fact. So that being said, It's very important for us to understand that at this time, yes, mosquitoes don't recognize you, right, Druk? Yeah, as an O negative, they don't really recognize you, okay, because you aren't from this plane of existence. Now, I also spoke about negative ruse also. Most people who, there were platforms like this. I don't even know if they existed. Please put a like on the video if you're up for the shenanigans today. Now, again, I'm not the end-all be-all information. I have to say that. I know what I know only from the research that I've done. The fact of the matter is that their information has been progressive, and this is where I love to see start talking about like people reading old books expecting to have new updated information. A lot of the research has literally been contracted, or you've signed NDAs. A lot of researchers, you know, when I worked in the field, you know, we sign contracts still disallowing us from sharing information publicly. A lot of this information may be kept private for, you know, it depends on who the sponsors are, if they're privatized companies that want research done for them, or a personal research firm that wants research. That means it isn't shared outwardly. Okay, so a lot of the information, that's why I do agree with this C-star. And there is a fairly big difference between the O negatives that are brown. The only thing that I say is that O positives, light skin and darker hue. Let me state this again. There's a difference between the O negatives that are brown and lunar, than those who share a broader group of the positive ruse. The positive ruse, O, A, B, but definitely O's, like all the O's, we share lineage. So I would like it to be like if we were all Lyrians and I was a cat, I would be a darker cat, like maybe like a copper looking cat. And then I would have a C-star in the same family that could be a lighter skinned cat, but we would all be of the same lineage, okay? So we have more of an interconnection with one another. Whereas negative ruses generally tend to be hive. Even if there's lighter hues and darker hues, what I find is the darker hues of the O negatives tend to be very, very, very high and proficient in analytical mindset. They're some of the smartest, like some of your microbiologists that are darker in hue are O negative, and there isn't really a reason why. I did some research. I know I'm thinking about what I want to say because I have a lot to say. I did some research, and what I had to say is that in the negative ruse, the negative ruse that are darker hues are hyper intelligent beings. Like those are the beings that can build spaceships. They're very connected to the hive in a different way. It's interesting because I'm not unsure if they're sharing the same hive information that the lunars are, because it seems like the Terra doesn't share each other. Like they aren't commingling as much, which makes me think that even though they're negative ruse, they may be from a different star system or a different landmass, because the O negative ruses that are melanated are like hyper intelligent, especially the females. The males too. I can't say that. The males and females, they just have a lot of access to information, and they are very they're very analytical and very, very, very clinically sound. And also with O negative lunars, but I noticed that there's a hyper intelligence with O negatives that are hyper and more melanated. Now, I don't know why. Wags her tongue. Oh, wait, hold on. Wags her tongue, but achieves nothing. Why don't you know what? Oh, what's your name? Pisky. Let's let you leave. Goodbye. Thank you. If this information is not what you want, why are you here? Okay? If you don't like the information, why stay? If I'm a liar or I create narratives that aren't true, if I don't know what I'm talking about, then go to a channel that does. You have channels that talk about O negatives all day. You won't find channels that talk about O positive though. This is what is an interesting thing, is that you'll find tons of information that is literally talking about O negatives or negative ruses. Let me know of a channel that speaks about positive ruse. Can someone put a 1 can someone put a 1 in the description if you ever heard a channel dedicated to O positives. Let me just see. Maybe I don't know. Please put a 1 if you know of a channel. Put a 0 if you haven't ever heard of a channel talking about O positives. I just want to know. Maybe, okay, so Iron has heard of one channel. Okay. Anybody else heard about channels talking about O positive? Maybe I don't know. Okay. Look. And you don't think that's for a reason, y'all? Look. How many people have ever heard of people talking about O positives? It is only talking about O negatives. You don't think that's by chance? Thank you, y'all. Okay. Pisces heard. A few have heard. A few ones in here. Okay. Oh, myself. Thank you, An. Thank you. I didn't check yet. Okay. All right. So for the majority of you, there aren't many of you have ever heard anyone talking a positive ruse. Do you think that's normal? Why would they put so much emphasis on speaking about O negative, but rarely speak about O positives? Why is that being totally negated and there isn't any? Because remember, if we're a mirror to each other, O negative would be the mirror opposite end of O positive. So you should see a total equal amount of conversation, shares, genetic information, forums that speak to O positive, but you aren't ever seeing that. You only hear of people talking about O positive is dominating in certain places, but it isn't as much as you think. They say it, but we are in the Americas more so. So you'll see more O positives in the Americas and parts of Europe. So you'll see like O positive all through the Americas. In the Caribbean, there's a strong amount of O positives. You'll see a lot more O positives amongst the Latinas in Central America. It's connected to a specific group of people. The Olmecs, to my knowledge, this is just for my research. And if someone knows different, I'm okay and open to hearing your information. But for my understanding, the majority of Olmecs shared O positive lineage, and also the ancient Cometians were O positive. So for my knowledge, the ancient Cometians, not the modern Egyptians. I got to remind everybody, those living in Egypt are those who came after gentrification, when Egypt had emptied out. Ancient Kemet was emptied out after the last pole shift. So when it was emptied out, the Cabbage Patch children, the orphan trains, the incubator children were moved into the city of Kemet, and its name was changed to Egypt, which is, to my knowledge, it's a Greek name, if I'm not mistaken, right? Am I mistaken? Someone let me know. I want to make sure I'm right with that. It was a Greek name. Egypt was a Greek name, and it was reclassified. So the people living in, you're from Martinique, O positive, big up Martinique. Hello, my Martiniquez. I love it. Yeah, so am I correct? Someone may correct me on that. I did look at research, and I found that there was a connection to ancient Cometians, ancient people from Kemet. Now, Kemet are the original people that lived in what you call the modern day Egypt. Their blood type, and this is coming from people who did, and this is from lunars, so don't act like it's a whole bunch of brown people making things up. This is from researchers in there who actually took some DNA from the dug up, disrespected mummies that should have been their graveyards, and it should have been left alone. But because there's people in there that are not connected to the bloodline of who was there, they dug up the ancient mummies and they took DNA, and all of them, if not every single one, if I haven't been mistaken, were positive ruse, and most of them were O positives. Okay, so I want to make sure. You can always correct me on that. I always got to make sure, because it's a lot in my archives, okay? So that being said, it's very important for us to understand that there is a large number of O positives, but they say that we're the domineering number. We have a large number, but there are a large number of Bs and ABs and As as well. As are the oldest here. So As have the literal, cellular memory of the beginning, of the start of this holographic plane. So they have the biological database. That's why the animals recognize them. That's why all of the sea life recognize them. A has an over connection to all of nature because they are the oldest here. That's why they tend to be very sweet. They tend to be very very kind. Even a very funky A is just got a very beautiful disposition. You know, I've met A's, even when they get all gaslit. You ever gaslit an A? Because I've gaslit everybody, okay? So gaslit an A, A's will still uphold a very kind or a very sublime, very sweet disposition. A's, again, to me, are connected very much to nature still. B's B's have a totally different, you have many of the Asiatic groups that are B's and ABs. So you have, like if you go into like China, parts of Mongolia, you go to Korea, those are mostly ABs and Bs, okay? They have that blood type. That's why Bs are very hypersensitive to sugar or cane, you know, processed sugar, which is wine and spirits. You know, when the people came over here and they had met some of the Asiatic tribes that were the second colonizers, that first colonizers that came before the Europeans, they had a hypersensitivity to sugar. And they knew this because they had their Asian neighbors in Eastern Europe. So they knew they had a hypersensitivity to sugar, an allergy. So they made sure they subjected and gave those elixirs to the indigenous here to further subjugate them to you know a sub-tier form of hypnosis so that they could further you know colonize without as much resistance. Okay, so they knew that bees are very sensitive to sugar, so that's why in a lot of places where in Asia, I think they do more sake, like rice wine, rather than grapes or fermented fruits, because they have that sensitivity. It's very important for you to understand bees, that you need to watch that. It can cause health issues long term. Also, you have issues with acidity, like very acidic fruit, like some of you have a hypersensitivity, like very sensitive to like things with lutein, like with tomatoes. Tomatoes may bother your stomach a little bit. So anyway, so bees, but what makes you very unique, bees, because I want to give a big up to everyone. I talked about the A's, but bees, what makes you very special is you have a brain that has the ability to hold more information because you can compartmentalize it. You can hold so much information and basically hold it in a space without it overloading. And that is why your Willy Wonka systems will generally contract you to work in the alphabet or dark ops because of the way your brain works. Many of your microbiologists, your heightened musicians, those who are wonderful at making your architects are all bees. Bees have an amazing brain. Like if anybody's ever to do a surgery, or ever you want someone to come in and do the blueprint for your house, or you want someone to do, you know, the art in your house, or you want someone to uphold to be lead an orchestra, you would definitely go to a bee. Okay, bees have an amazing brain, amazing mind. They aren't as overwhelmed, whereas like A will get overwhelmed from too much information, and O will be more reactive with the information. Bees are able to put information in different databases in their brain, and that's why you'll see mostly bees, and it's a very Asiatic quality. So many of the brown people here in the United States, in the Americas, they were the indigenous here, where I know a lot of your lies of mass destruction in your schools have told you otherwise. Many of these so-called African Americans, which they've reclassified brown African Americans, because if you notice it, the only group in the Americas that they reclassify because they're taking them further away from their indigenous roots so that they were able to take over the land patents. Big up to Janae, Chiefess Janae, who speaks about this. It's a fact. I had studied this in CCNY. Many of our young people have taken over and gone rogue with this information. It's a fact. That's why that's information that's hidden. Many of the brown people were called Negroes, which was considered to be a smokescreen for being indigenous. Many of the tribes that were existing here in the Americas aren't even acknowledged, or obviously, you know, they were gentrified and reclassified. And also many of the so-called colonists make sure they infuse themselves with paying the $5 and taking over these tribes. That's why you're seeing in many of the Cherokee, the you don't see it as much as the Creek, because the Creek, I don't think you see as much. Blackfoot, many of the different indigenous tribes, you see people that don't look anymore like the indigenous at all, complexion-wise, feature-wise, because they have been overtaken and they have people holding positions and power that have taken over those particular things. So I think more so people who aren't brown Americans may, or even people from other places may not know that, but I'm letting you, and that's a fact. That isn't cap. Those are things that you have to, you would know if you were a researcher or you were already in that information. Okay, so those of us from the Caribbean, big up to all my Latinas and my Caribbean people. We generally know our fuse of mixtures from Taino. Like I'm mostly Caribe, but I mixed with Taino. We generally still hold a lot of the same features. Those of us who are mixed with the Arawak, the Tainos, and the Caribs, we generally have the same bone structure, facial disposition, eye placement. Those who mix with the Tainos, the Caribs, were very busty. And we generally look that way from some of our family in Central America, in mostly like the borders between Honduras and going towards Guadalajara. The women tend to be a little busty. That's why Mexican women, figure-wise, look very reminiscent of the women in the Caribbean, because we share some lineage and some genealogy. So the Carib, the Taino, the Arawak, and those coming from the Incan lines, the Mayan lines, we generally share some lineage. Also those from the south of America, from Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, we also share, and also Louisiana, we do share kin, because your ancestors and my ancestors were all family. We did trade amongst each other and we went back and forth. That's why you'll see women in Georgia look very much like myself. Again, sometimes very busty. We didn't have necessarily big bums depending on where you come from. That came from some of the other tribes that have more of that kind of disposition, come from more the northern or the not the northern, but more the southern states going into like the Caribbean, who are mixed with some of the other tribes that were there that you don't even know the names of, because they basically were absorbed or abolished. Okay, so we're all kin. So big up to my cousins in North America, Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, South Carolina, we kin. Okay, those are kin from Puerto Rico, from the Virgin Islands, from Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, from Jamaica, from Haiti, from Dominican Republic. Big up to all of y'all. Big up to our Mexicano family from Guadalajara, over in the middle. We are kin too. So it's beautiful when you start to realize that many of us are interconnected. And if we realize that and we stopped kind of separating ourselves and realizing that we cousins and that our ancestors were all participants in the same practice of exchange and intermarriage, we would really realize that we're all one. And even with some of our European family that came in and infused some of their genealogy within the Caribbean and the Americas, you have to realize that now you're in a bigger family with a bigger gene pool, and you too are kin and family. So if we overstand, that's why I say own positives, you have to come back and realize that we're family. Whether you're light skin or you have more melanated hue, we have to come together, because these parasites, these sub-tier AI initiated parasite cancers that have been brought into our field have been causing wreck. They deforestize everything, destroy water, because they aren't from the world. It's like people moving into your neighborhood that haven't any connection to your place. Like they wouldn't respect your neighborhood. The Skeksis aren't going to give you more respect for living there, because they haven't any connection to your land masses. To here, they're planning. Listen, y'all, when the shift comes, these mofos are trying to leave, trying to go outside to the outer rings to try to get out of this firmament to go F up somebody else's world. They're parasites. And for those who know they can't leave, all they're trying to do is going to the sub layers of the pseudo earth and try to burrow there until reset, until pole shift is finished, so they can reinitiate and establish their power again with the amnesia that most people have when they're reincarnated, and basically initiate their hybrid test tube babies that they've been creating under these underworld underground tunnels, that they've been creating these hybrids, cloning and otherwise, and they're going to like they did with Egypt. They're going to basically bring these orphan children back into these emptied out cities and start civilization again. That's why you aren't seeing any verbiage on any of your on any of your, what's that sound? Or any of your ancient ancient buildings, because languages will change. They have to change the language because they want to. What's that sound? You hear the ringing? Okay, I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe it's my watch. Okay, you hear it? Are these bastards trying to mess with my live? It's a frequency weapon. I rebuke it. I think they are. But guess what? Because remember they criticized my big boobies? They criticized these. Guess what? This protects this bulk that I have. That's what you O positives have in common. If you're a little bulky, it mutes frequencies, okay? When you're a little bulky, it protects your organs from frequency weapons. It doesn't overall help it, but if you're healthy and you have a little bulk, the blubber, the layers help to protect you from the frequencies being able to impede your organs. I mean, it may give you headaches and so on. I'm not saying you're totally protected. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? A little bulk doesn't always hurt all the time, okay? So I rebuke them. I'm hearing like the beeping. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. All right. Please put a like on the video if you're up for the shenanigans today, okay? Because someone said nice layers. I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with me appreciating my body. My God, how many years of life do women, you know, we always criticize ourselves. I've reached a point where I'm okay with me. Whether you're okay with me or not has nothing to do with me. It only has to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm hearing ringing. And remember, I don't have any technology in my room, so it's not in my room. Okay. So that being said, y'all, for all of my lunars, Asiatics, brown, Latinos, Hindu, whoever you are, who is O positive, I need y'all to stand up and basically stand in your power and start building your ability telepathically, because the difference between us and them is that they all connect to the hive. We are independent. But I think what should happen is that because we are the most powerful here in this biofield, we are the hubs of this plane of existence. We are the warriors that basically stand against tyranny. We need to build a field of interconnection with one another and basically work on really building our own hive system where we can tap in when necessary so that we can gain more wisdom from each other so that we can overcome these bastards. These Skeksis are out of control and they got a whole nother agenda rolling, y'all, that's rolling out right now. You're going to see that if you join Rumble. I can't, you know, like I said, they already tagged me for making a video. They put me on timeout for sharing the video about the young woman who came from Italy who did such amazing work. You can see her video. They took it off of YouTube. They banned it. You can go to my Rumble and you'll see the video. I share her video and the tribute that her colleagues had made to her. It's so beautiful. She did amazing work. I'm unable to say her name and I kind of knew I couldn't, so I just took one for the team by sharing her video. But by all means, do share, do go to Rumble and watch her tribute. It is just mind-blowing how these Skeksis are able to do as much as they do. And if you look at all these bioborgs that they're basically putting out in the public, does anyone know the time? Hold on, y'all. Do you know what time it is? Can anyone give me the time? I'm always not knowing the time. I don't have clocks in my room. What is it Central? Oh, it's 3:30. Okay, y'all, I got like 15 minutes. Okay. It's almost like I could talk to you for like a long period of time. Okay, and then so that's all I'll say about this. Do check, like I talk about a lot more stuff on the video. Go watch my video in Rumble. Join Rumble. There's more uncensored. We have to find other platforms where we can speak freely. They're gonna censor everything we do. I will say this, we're gonna have fun. For those who wanna join, I don't know how I'm going to do this. If you want to join Patreon for then, we're going to do, and this is for those who want to have fun, because there's so much nefarious things happening. We're going to do a yoni manifestation. It's so much fun. We're going to do a yoni manifestation, manifesting those who haven't been kukarachi shouted out. So we'll be doing that on the 7th. And if enough males want to do one for themselves with a, oh no, it's yoni manifestation. Wand manifestation. I can do something with the males on Friday the 8th. That's only if you want to do it, guys. Because I really, Sun Stars, I can be a little aggressive sometimes. And I know that sometimes I can be maybe a little too out there. So if you want to join Sun Stars, I can do it with you guys on a Friday. It's only enough if you want to go. Sometimes guys don't want to do stuff with me because they think I'm over the top. So I understand. So Sun Stars, if you want to do it and it's enough if you want to do it, I'll do it with you Friday. You have to join Patreon for it, so you can do that. But on the 7th, for us Sea Stars, if you're feeling like you're unable to find a proper, manifestation of a mate that is more applicable to your energetic field, and he is kukarachi shouted free, we are doing this. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna do it when Venus is going direct, and we're gonna have fun doing this. So if you want to join, you can join next month on Zoom, on Patreon. I would do it otherwise if you didn't want to join Patreon, but I'm not the best at doing technology stuff. So but the 7th isn't for Sun Stars. So Sun Stars, that is only for women, and only for women who are for that, because that is a safe, sacred space. And I'm sorry, I won't be taking any men who think that they want to be those, us, because that isn't appropriate either. So that's just for women who have an XX, that group. Call it what it is, okay? And for Sun Stars, if you want to do the wand manifestation, if you aren't afraid of me, then you can by all means join, and I'll do something with you guys on Friday. But, again, it has to be enough of you. Sometimes, like I said, I can be a little, for our Sun Stars, I can be a little over the top, and I wouldn't want to offend you, but it would be fun, okay? So, and for those who get offended very easily and have sexual repression and are afraid of their own yoni or their own wand, this isn't a place for you to go, okay? You would have to be okay with you, okay? Remember, I'm Creole. Sexuality isn't something I needn't to have apprehensions talking about. If you have a problem with that, that wouldn't be a place you want to go, because then you would be offended. I don't know. Some people have a lot of hang-ups, and, Willy Wonka's worked really well at social engineering, making people hypersex, but really not sexually healthy. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to have sex, but there isn't anyone who wants to have intimacy anymore. So this is really for those. And for Diana Boss, that might, yeah. So it depends, again, this is only for fun. We've been talking about everything crazy right now. So I figure we might as well, this is what I used to do before. We might as well have fun. And also helping to show you that manifestation is actually easier than you think. It's just mind, and basically you projecting what you already hold in the field, and it coming and basically magnetizing to you. It's actually quite easy. And I think a lot of our Sea Stars are looking to have male, to attract, or if they're, I don't know if they like females. This isn't you can come in as a female who likes other females. I haven't blocked you from that. And for males, if that's what you like as well, for other males, you're attracting other males who are vax free. I rebuke that. I didn't say that. I'm mentally ill. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm talking about. You can come in on Friday. That has nothing to do with it. So if you have a disposition of liking same thing, the manifestation is just you manifest who you want to bring to you, magnetize to you. And because a lot of people are having issues with the kukarachi, we're going to pull it in the field. So I have a wonderful way to do that. So join next month. Anyway, so I gotta go, y'all. It was beautiful talking to you. Please watch Rumble, join Rumble, subscribe to me there, share the video. Like I said, it was the only place I had to just see if the Rumble video was really a go. They could say that it's censor free. So basically when you go there, you're gonna hear me say things just without coding and just a lot more brazen. So that was my way of testing to see if the platform was really appropriate for us. Okay, so big up to all the blood types in here. I want to give a shout out to all the O positives. O negatives, you get a lot of shout outs. You have a lot of channels. I give a shout out to you as well, but I want to give a shout out to the O positives. I want you to stand in power. Know that most of the foods and everything that they're setting out here, be mindful of safflower oil, a lot of your soy, a lot of the frequencies. Be careful with that, because O positives, we're hypersensitive because we have more of an organic connection to this realm. So we have to remain more organic. So stand in power and stop being a punk, and make sure that you stand against the tyranny of the Skeksis. Boom. Okay. So y'all, I gotta go. I hope this was helpful. Again, you could put a like on the video if you have for the shenanigans, if you appreciate the share. We'll see. I didn't say anything crazy. Let's see what YouTube does. Okay. So, will it be recorded? Some of it will be recorded on the Yoni manifestation. Some of it I already recorded a part of it that was really helpful. So there'll be parts, but it'd be great to just join. I should record it. Maybe I will this time. I'll record it and leave it on Patreon so you guys can see it at any time. That'll be helpful because not everybody can make it. And you know, Zoom is a beautiful space. I just like when we get together and we kind of joke about it and we have fun. So you'll see, if you join, you'll see all of the, tools, or, some of the manifestation tools that would be helpful. And I'll give a list of them when you come over. Okay. So, I wish everybody well, stay happy, stay, healthy, and stay woke, not the fake woke, but the real woke. Okay. And blood types matter. All right. So I'll talk to you later. And, thank you very much. Peace.